Legend of Total War here, and today I'm going to go through the Total War 3 Kingdoms E3 gameplay reveal, and let you know my thoughts are as we watch through the video. So I'll start and stop it as we go through. If you want to watch this video without me talking through it, I'll leave a link in the description. I'm sure most of you have already watched the video anyway. I'm probably a little bit late to the party in this, about a day late, so I'm sure everyone else has already looked at it. But to be honest, I didn't even know this video existed until like 5 minutes ago, because I was busy playing something other than Total War. Anyway, let's jump in and see what this has to offer. Oh, hang on.
Hello and welcome to the first look at Total War 3 Kingdoms. Today we're going to be playing through a single battle. It's 199 CE and the events of the Three Kingdoms era are well underway. The tyrant Dong Zhuo is long dead, murdered by his adoptive son Lu Bu. He's one of the greatest warriors of the period, who is now threatening to combine his strength with Yuan Shu and overwhelm all opposition. However, Lu Bu sits in CRP, isolated from his would-be ally. The legendary commander Cao Cao senses an opportunity to strike Lu Bu down before his strength becomes too great. After months...
Okay, so in terms of the history of the Three Kingdoms era, I don't know anything about it. I'm very Eurocentric. I'm much more been interested in European history. But that being said, one of the things I'm really looking forward to with this game is learning about this period in China. However, I would much prefer to learn about the actual, what's most likely to have actually happened historically, as opposed to sort of bullshit fantasy dynasty warrior side of things. Like, I don't like the idea of having Lu Bu act as, basically be Karl Franz on the battlefield. That kind of shit does not interest me in a historical Total War. But as for the actual things that, historical events that actually happened, I am very interested in it. I don't know how much CA is going to stay true to that, or if they're going to go with the more fantasy element of it. I don't know. So I'm probably not the best person to talk about that, but I'll just make that comment right there.
Of long siege warfare, and with the defenders starved of resources, Cao Cao now senses the time is right. Here, behind the walls of CRP, Lu Bu stands in the center, preparing to fight against the approaching march of Cao Cao. Here we are on the battlefield. The final assault is about to begin.
Okay, so first thing I'll note is, of course, something that I should always talk about is that it all looks very nice. The art department at Creative Assembly, they always do a top notch. Creative Assembly makes some of the best looking strategy games in the world. There's no doubt about that. Their art department, top of their game. Everything looks amazing. The UI looks pretty good, I guess. I'm sure someone's going to be like, I don't like the UI. Whatever. It's not something I usually argue with. But it looks very nice. But one thing that stares at me right now that makes red alert on my head go on is this right here. This is a major red alert from what I'm seeing here. This brings off alarm bells to me majorly. Now, I don't know how armies are recruited on the campaign map, but this is just speculations. If it's a case of you don't recruit units, you recruit heroes, and the heroes you can either recruit units into the heroes or they come automatic with those heroes. That pisses me off. That's not what I want. That's Kessen, okay? And if anyone's ever played Kessen before, it's a good game. But that's like 2005 sort of thing. It's old. Kessen is a game that's set in, it's Shogun 2, but not Shogun 2 really. It's set in the Sengoku Jidai era. You play as Oda Nobunaga. You hire your friends, and you don't recruit the units. They just come with a regiment that comes automatically with them. So, if, for example, you hire, I don't know any of their names, so if you hire this guy and he's only ever able to recruit spearmen or whatever, or he comes automatically with only 4 spearmen, that is something that reduces the level of customization. I'm not saying that's what it is, but this is, we can only go off what I can see here. They're making a very big indication of, like, these guys here are larger than life. This is his army here. This is his army here. This is his there. Now, I doubt it's a case of this guy was on the campaign map, he attacked, when this guy was just right behind him. I would say that these guys were all attached into the same army, and it's more a case of you recruit, say, 5 or 6 heroes, and they come automatic with this. If that is the case, it means that you have so very limited amount of customization to the way that you want to design your armies. And again, we don't know what the campaign map is going to look like, but this brings off alarm bells to me, and I will say that I just don't like this. If I'm wrong about it, great, but this is just bringing off alarm bells at the stage. We really do need to see what the campaign has to offer before I make a full judgment. It's just alarm bells at this stage.
We have Cao Cao, the legendary commander, leading his men into battle. We're going for a two-pronged approach. Cao Cao shall lead his forces through the breach, while Yi Jin will march his forces to the gatehouse and smash through and take the main concourse.
So it seems like you can see very much that these guys have like specialized roles. This guy here's got his infantry, and he's sort of like the artillery general. So he's got his mangonels here, and maybe he's only able to recruit, or maybe he comes automatic with 2 mangonels and 2 crossbows. Don't know.
But before we move forwards, we need to lay the groundwork for our assault. We're going to raise their walls to the ground. With that underway,
it fell very quickly, but they may have just adjusted that for the demo. You don't want they don't want to be sitting there with the demo sitting there like shooting it for 5 minutes. Obviously, so they'll adjust value. So anyone's just like, the walls fell really quickly. What the fuck? Don't worry about that stuff. They're not gonna show what the actual gameplay is going to be like. They're trying to cram as much information as they can into 5 minutes. So let's just keep that in mind.
We're going to move our heavy spear guard up towards the front gate for the attack on the wall. Let's take a look at these heavy spear guard.
Okay, so another thing I want to point out is that I do like the fact that a lot of these guys are holding flags, and it seems to be representative of how much experience they have. The more experienced a unit, the more flags they have. It was very similar in Rome 1 and Medieval 2, but what I'm curious is somebody holding this flag? Is someone actually, like, is there an actual person holding the flag, or is it just a flag that's hovering above them? I don't mind either way, I'm just curious.
Currently in the turtle formation, using their tall shields together.
It's copying Rome 2.
With the flag bearers in the center to protect from missile fire, which will greatly...
So there we have it, folks. China, cultural appropriating Rome since 199 CE.
...aid us in this assault. Lu Bu is holding his position in the center of CRP, waiting for someone worthy enough to fight. In Three Kingdoms, there are unique items which can be given to your generals. Here we see Lu Bu's horse and weapon are unique to him.
Okay, so I like that. I like that they've taken one of the best elements from Total War Warhammer and brought it into historical Total War, where the customization of your generals is probably the best thing about Total War Warhammer. Going out there, getting those special items, and that provide various benefits. But what I'm curious about, I mean, we've had elements to it in other previous Total War games, like Rome 1 and Medieval 2. You were able to get equipment and retinue and attach it to your general to some loose extent, and they had various benefits. And it happened again in Rome 2 and Attila. But in Rome 2 and Attila, most of these items were, they ranged from being overpowered to being absolutely useless. So curious to see what the effects are of them, or whether or not they're just aesthetics. I hope they're not just aesthetics. That would be a bit boring.
But should he be slain, you could loot his items and keep them for yourself. Here we have one of our generals under Cao Cao. Different generals can...
So here are the stats now. 46 morale, melee toughness, missile toughness, melee power. So I'm assuming that toughness is like how resistant they are to this. 91,000. Man, they're going full out on the numbers on this one. 51,000 melee power. Well, this number here is lower than melee toughness, but it looks like the bar is really low, so I don't know what that means. Level 3 general, I don't know. Let's keep looking.
Recruit different kinds of units. These two are leading their forces together. Yi Jin is a guardian type hero, our combat master who excels in the heart of battle, tanking and soaking.
Okay, so we can see he just got shot there, and he basically it didn't even phase him. So there was no animation, like even in like Rome 2, Rome 1 and Medieval 2, when a general is getting shot, even if he doesn't die, because sometimes in Medieval 2 they need to take a shitload of shots before they actually die. They will sort of at least acknowledge the fact that they were shot. Whereas this is like, oh, I have a magical shield and nothing even phases me. I'm telling you, if you got shot with an arrow, even if it didn't kill you, you wouldn't just be like, oh, that was just paper mache or anything like that. It would hurt. It would at very least make you flinch.
up damage. While our strategist is not great in a fight, he is incredibly...
I also wonder if they've got health, like in Total Warhammer. I gotta be aware that there is a classic mode as well as bullshit fantasy mode. I don't know what they're calling it. I guess the Dynasty Warrior mode is probably another way of putting it. I'm glad that they've done that. It's really good. They're actually making 2 separate game modes. I'm probably going to be more focused on the classic game mode. If I was to play this game has not yet sold me. We'll see how we go.
Useful for debuffing enemy units and allows us access to unique formation types. The gap on the left is now wide enough for us to make our great assault on the settlement.
So one thing I wonder as well is, can you select the unit, as in the general, separate from his bodyguard? Is this the bodyguard unit here? I'm assuming this is the experience. So that would, I guess, mean that you could have 7. Well, there's 6 in this, but why would they leave this UI empty here? I'm sure that you could have, I guess, a top of 7. And if he's able to like move away, because one thing that you could do if he's like that, I don't know. We'll just see how things go.
Cao Cao and his retinue are going to move up. Cao Cao himself is a commander, and they excel at buffing up nearby allied troops rather than wading into combat themselves. So we won't be seeing him being the first through the breach. He's too valuable for that. We will instead be pushing...
Another thing to note is that the unit scale, in terms of how many men are actually in a unit, I heard a rumor that we were going to push the numbers in terms of this game. We don't know if this is on small unit scale, large unit scale, huge unit scale. I can only assume it's on huge unit scale because that's usually what they show their games on. And it seems like a bit of a missed opportunity that they haven't like upped it to say 320 max or 400, 500. I was really looking forward to seeing some really massive battles in Total War 3 Kingdoms, because this is set in China, and if it's one thing that China has in a complete abundance, it's lots of cannon fodder. So seeing armies of 2,000 or 3,000 go up against each other, it's like, I'm sure that the engine is limited to they can't push it too far in that regard, because there's a lot that the CPU has to work on. But if they were able to push that number to say 4, 5, even to 10,000 men aside, as a standard sort of battle sort of thing, that would have really impressed me. And it feels like a missed opportunity that they didn't take advantage of the manpower of China to really make these battles truly epic, as opposed to the standard 2,000 or 3,000 men formula that's been around for decades, 8 decades now.
A hybrid heavy spear and missile infantry unit. They will first hold back and fire over the walls with their bows, and once they've spent all their ammunition, they will join in on the front line.
Where does it show their ammunition? Oh, so here we can see how much health he has. Okay, so yeah, they do have hit points, just like Total War Warhammer. Fair enough. It's not just a case of... because the thing is, in Medieval 2, what would happen is they did have hit points, right? But there was also... Every shot had to hit a critical hit in order to actually kill someone. So someone with a lot of armor might get shot with a lot of arrows and get bloodied, but it wouldn't kill them until the critical hit would actually happen, which was somewhat what they introduced in Thrones of Britannia, but not really. One thing is, like, these archers, where is their ammo? Where is it represented? Because there's always been some sort of bar. Even back to like Shogun 1 and Medieval 1, where's the bar and how much ammunition they've got? Maybe it's just not done yet. Don't know.
Let's move our heavy spears forward to climb the walls. Now is the time to press the attack. Getting the Azure Dragons firing, and now charging forwards with the Yellow Dragons.
Is there a heart beating in that spineless body? Is there a brain inside that cavernous head?
Okay, so in terms of the general speeches, I'm going to assume that this is what you're going to get throughout the battle. You're not going to get like a big speech at the beginning. They might do it, I don't know. But I also think that hearing them speak in broken English is a bit shit. I feel like it would have been better if they could have learned from Shogun 2 and actually have them speaking Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever language they speak Chinese, and just have the subtitles there. I think that would have been a little bit more immersive, or at least give us the option to have these guys speaking in their native tongue. Because let's face it, Cao Cao did not speak English. So just it's a little thing, but it's the little things that sometimes matter to some people. So I don't know. I don't really want to hear them speak in broken English. And just to reiterate as well, you know, when I played Kessen back in the day, right, and playing, you know, as Oda Nobunaga, whenever there was a cutscenes, he would speak in like an American accent. You know, he wouldn't speak in Japanese. And to be honest, it would be better if these guys spoke in an English accent than broken English, because that's going to get annoying. You know, it's just, you know, it's like having that guy from South Park constantly speak, you know, what's it called? I'm not trying to be racist, this is what they do in the game. Oh, Mongolian come over war, shitty war. You know, are they going to speak like that, or can they just speak Chinese? You know, people can read. I don't know.
These heavy
Give us the
axe
options.
units are a formidable foe for anyone they go up against. They will make very short work of these spears.
I did notice there's no blood. Let's face it, that's just the thing with Total War now. Blood, there will be blood, but you will pay $2.50 for it, or whatever it's going to be, and that'll be 1 month, 2 months down the track. I don't even expect blood in these games anymore. Yeah, this game about violence, one of the most violent periods in Chinese history. Ah, no, blood. We got to keep it PG. You know, come on, give me a break. Anyway. As for the animations, it also looks like they've more or less done away with the Empire Rome 2 Attila style of get into combat and these big animations where they swirl around each other and have these kill moves, which I'm fine with. They've done away with that, and they've gone more to the sort of medieval to Rome 2, even Thrones of Britannia style, or even Total Warhammer style of just they make the attacks less elaborate than they are in Rome 2 and Empire, and damage is done from that. I don't mind that, to be honest. Okay, apparently we got Super Mario over here. Let me just see that again. Keep your eye on that guy. Him right there. Okay, I don't care how strong these guys are. The amount of muscle power you need to throw someone into the air that much, no, it's just not possible. Again, this is probably not the classic mode, but it seems silly. It breaks my immersion to see men get thrown back like that. I do hope that they've toned that shit way down, because I don't want Dynasty Warriors Total War. Again, they might be trying to go for that, but you know, that's not what I want. I don't want to see this kind of crap. It's really silly.
Let's check up on the center attack. The settlement is now on fire from the barrage of arrows, and our men are getting over the wall.
Okay, so I just noticed something. Just go back a little bit there. These guys here, these were up, the command was put around the same time. Now, of course, the game is in early alpha. I don't expect the game to be perfect. It also, like, the rope is just hanging off there. It'd be cool if they had, like, an actual hook on it. Again, tiny little things, you know, they put so much detail into everything else. It'd be cool if they had the hook. But anyway, this unit here is like running around with their head off. You can watch them like they don't know what to do. They don't know whether to go up this one or that one. That's a problem that Total War has had for ages. I'm sure that it will be better on release. I just find it funny that, like, if we just go back a little bit, just keep your eye on this here.
From the barrage of arrows, and our men
see, they don't know what they're doing
and getting stuck into the enemy.
Okay, so another thing is that, okay, generally speaking, I would think that China's army would be mostly peasants. That you would not be able to scale a wall that fucking quickly. I mean, that is like Bear Grylls level of skill to get up the wall that quickly.
Stuck into the enemy.
Like, that's really fucking quick. Like, even Shogun 2, right? Even the samurai, they put their rope up on the wall, start climbing, and then they even fall down. How many of these guys are falling down as well?
Stuck into the enemy. Men are getting over the walls.
They're not falling down at all. So I'm like, it seems a bit arcadey. And if it's one thing I don't want to see these Total Wars become is arcade Total War Dynasty Warriors game.
Yes! Sack them! Cousin, we come to aid you. We ride with fury at our back.
Our
Alright, so we got another 2 hero guys come in with 2 units each. So we know at least you can have 5 of these heroes, commander heroes or whatever. So maybe that was the reinforcing army. Wait, hang on a sec. That's like there's a black dot there as opposed to a yellow dot. Maybe there's like a special ability. I don't know. We'll see how we go. But there's still room there for several more, or maybe 5 is the max, and it's just that there would have been room for like more in each of these. I don't know. But this here is a big concern. I don't like the way this looks. This is not Total War as far as this is not something that I would praise in a Total War game to see this level of customization gone. Again, we don't know. I'm only speculating.
This huge massive cavalry will be the perfect thing to break.
Okay, that looked like shit. Let me see that again.
This huge massive cavalry.
Okay, the collision looks crap. So if we just look back a bit, watch the front here. These guys land into the front, and they basically just don't do anything. It's like physics takes a break. Let me see this again.
Huge massive cavalry.
Yeah, they're swiveling on the spot as well. You can, if you have a look back, I know it's not like, I mean, it's supposed to be full HD, but it's a little bit pixelated. If you look at these guys here, they like swivel back and forth as the game like tries to calculate, trying to calculate the RPG elements as opposed to actual physics. I mean, just see.
Right. This huge massive cavalry.
Yeah, they're swiveling on the spot.
Will be the perfect thing to break Lu Bu's men. We'll charge them into this spear infantry. They're gonna knock these guys flying and destroy them around.
It's like, it looks cool and bad at the same time. Again, it's early development. I'm sure they haven't quite fixed it. I'm sure they're going to do their best with it. But at this moment here, I'm just like, I'm impressed.
Are led by Jehad Dun. He was shot in the eye by an arrow in battle against Lu Bu. He pulled it out, his eye still attached to the arrow, and proceeded to eat it. And we're going to get him out of the fight and head over to Lu Bu, who we're going to challenge to a duel. Duels are a new feature for 3 Kingdoms.
Okay, so I don't care how strong you are. If you were hit by that, like you were moving at let's say he was moving at like 10 k's an hour. This guy's moving like 40 k's an hour. If you were hit by that, even if there was like if that was blunt at the end, you'd be down on your ass for a while.
Duels are a new feature for
so
3 Kingdoms,
it's superhuman right
where
there.
the 2 heroes will duke it out in single combat until one either dies or retreats. Duels can help you single out an enemy combatant. And
so it definitely looks cool, but I don't know if it is actually. The hell over here? So he's in. Where's his army though? It's like it's oh, it's in a control group. That's interesting. So they put a control group and it's merged all the stuff. Okay.
Take them out and turn the tide of battle.
Hang on a second. So it looks like he took his weapon, right? That looked a little bit weird. Because he's holding his weapon with 2 hands. He just ends up with it. It looks cool, but it's silly.
This battle is heating up. To see who wins, stay tuned for all of our coverage coming out of E3 next week, or join us on the show floor itself for the full experience.
Alright, so, overall, what do I think? It seems to me like this is marketed at not me, basically. And that's fine. Like, I know that, look, Total War's been going in a non-Legend of Total War direction for a long time now, so I'm not saying that any of this is really surprising, but it looks to me like this is going to be really arcadey. It looks a bit fantasy-like, and if that's the case, I'm just not going to be into this. Again, this could be the non-classic mode, and that's absolutely fine. This is so little information for us to base like whether or not we're going to buy this game or not. But as far as me jumping onto the hype train, this did absolutely nothing. In fact, it moved me in the opposite direction. As to right now, after seeing how the armies are built together, I'm totally fine with not playing this. Like, I do not need this game in my life. That's what I feel like right now. It's not for, you know, nearly a year until it even comes out, and they might even push this back even further. But, you know, from my first impressions, I'm like, I'm not impressed. This isn't the direction that I want to see Total War going into. But this game's going to be successful no matter what. I know that a lot of people are going to like it no matter what. But that doesn't mean that I have to like it just because everyone else does. I hope this gives you some information about, you know, or some insight about what we're seeing here. Everything looks pretty. It's a very good looking game. I got full confidence in Creative Assembly's art department. What I have lack of confidence in is how their mechanics work on the game side. And that's what I'm interested in. And that's why I've been playing a lot of Paradox games lately, which is the opposite. Focus is not at all on battles, and focus more on the mechanics side of things, on the empire building. Anyway, we'll wait until there's some more information. I'm really curious to see what the campaign is going to look like, but unfortunately at this point here, I'm just like, meh, I don't care. This game could just not exist, and I wouldn't give a shit. Anyway, that's the end of this one, and see you next time, fuckers.